What's up, film buffs? This is Brian coming at you from Toxic Reviews, and today I am reviewing Space Jam: A New Legacy. Roll it. NBA player LeBron James and his young son Dom get trapped in a digital space by a rogue AI. To get home safely, LeBron teams up with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and the rest of the Looney Tunes gang for a high-stakes basketball game against the AI's digitized companions of the court, a high-powered-up roster called the Goon Squad. Space Jam: A New Legacy stars LeBron James, Don Cheadle, and Sonequa Martin Green, and a bunch of other actors that probably wish they had nothing to do with this movie. The first Space Jam is very nostalgic for me. It came out when I was an insane Michael Jordan fan, when everybody was an insane Michael Jordan fan in 1996, and me and my friends, that's all we talked about when this came out. I was in 6-ish grade when this came out, and who doesn't love the Looney Tunes? So they had a amazing concept to make money. They had Looney Tunes, which makes money, and everybody loves them. And you have Michael Jordan, the best basketball player of all time, in a film with a mediocre story, but it was a kid's film. And watching the original Space Jam as an adult, it absolutely is a kid's film. But where the original was good, this one fails in such an insanely, monstrously way, if that even is a word. I just invented it. This is an absolute catastrophe of a sequel. Again, I'm doing this review as a person that really is not into sports at all. Like, none whatsoever anymore. The last Bulls game I watched was their last championship game. So after the Jordan era, the Dream Team era, I kind of dropped off of sports and stopped really watching. I kind of focused on football, and I'm from Chicago, so I stopped watching football as well. Still a fan, just not as much anymore. So the first Space Jam, starring Michael Jordan, was the acting good? It was pretty mediocre. But where Michael Jordan had charisma in that film, like if you watch the original Space Jam, you could see that Michael Jordan has a certain level of charisma behind his performance when he acts in this film. It is very enjoyable. Even as an adult, I watched the first Space Jam, and like a month ago. It's an enjoyable film. And I don't enjoy it only because it's nostalgic. It was a pretty big part of my childhood, but it is very enjoyable. It had a very simple concept of a basketball game with there were aliens, and it was fun. It was that 2D animation, kind of like Roger Rabbit, that was very well done. I had a very good time with that. So after seeing the trailer for this, I don't know too much about LeBron James. Again, I don't follow sports. I heard he's very good. I've seen him play a couple times in some highlights. Guy looks great. But what Michael Jordan had in charisma, he has zero. I can't express this enough how unbelievably bad the acting is in this film. There are scenes where there is Don Cheadle's in this film. He's this computer program that controls the servers of Warner Brothers. And there's a point in the film where he like blows himself up, and he's like huge up in the sky on the ceiling, and he's talking to LeBron James's son and talking to LeBron James, and like as a person, when you see something like that, you're gonna be like, oh snap, what the hell's going on? But it's like The reaction in that scene, or lack thereof, is terrible from LeBron James. I I feel like this film was all done on one take. Like every scene that was shot was one take. Like the director's like, action. LeBron James reads his line and he's like, okay, that's good. Moving on. I I don't know if that was the case, but it seems like that was the case. It seems like they just let him just say the lines. It's almost like he's reading from the script. There is zero charisma behind his performance, and it is it's terrible. So let's get into the story. It's such a convoluted plot, um, about a computer program in the Warner Brothers serververse that wants to erase the Looney Tunes and prove that LeBron James isn't that great by having a basketball game. That's what I got out of this. So instead of aliens, they're battling digitized characters that are kind of, sort of based off of real life WNBA and NBA players that LeBron James' son creates through his game that he's creating. And okay, it's a kid's film. I mean, I guess you could have somewhat of a convoluted plot. This film is just extremely boring. And it's crazy for a film that has so many phenomenal visuals to be absolutely, positively boring. I had to watch it in 2 sections. So I watched the other half the day after, and thinking it was going to get better, and it didn't. I really don't know who the audience is for this movie. Like they cram in so many Warner Brothers properties into this film because they need an audience. So Don Cheadle, the server verse guy, brings in all the WB properties to be the audience. So you see like King Kong, the It Clown, Mr. Freeze from the Batman and Robin movies. I saw The Mask. And I mean, it's cool, I guess, but it kind of reminds me of a terrible version of Ready Player One. The visuals in this film are unbelievable. But again, that's not saying a lot, because when you have a lot of money and you put it into a film, the effects, it's like I said in my last review, I think it was of Fast 9, it's like I expect effects to be good. The green screen is some of the best I've ever seen in this. The Looney Tunes are, when they're on screen, it's funny, but it goes nowhere and it has no meaning whatsoever. There is a very cool little moment at the end where Don Cheadle's character turns the Looney Tunes into like real life characters. So you could see like Bugs Bunny with the fur and stuff, and their CGI, and it looked really cool because I think that was the first time I've ever seen him in CGI. I think in the movie of Brendan Fraser, I think they're still somewhat 2D, 3D-ish, but it looks great. It looks great. The effects look phenomenal. So it's entertaining to see the Looney Tunes on screen, but it is so unbelievably destroyed by the lack of story, the lack of script, the unbelievably terrible dialogue, the terrible dialogue projection. I mean, man, I was really expecting to at least have some sort of good time with this film. But it's like the Looney Tunes, they're used as, so they need a team for the basketball team. And LeBron James is like, we need players. And Bugs is like, I got an idea. We're going to get the Looney Tunes because we won before. And we have the same plot. Almost exactly. So he gets the same people from the first one. Maybe there's a couple different ones they didn't use before, but so they go to like different worlds in the serververse to find the different Looney Tunes, and that was kind of fun. But once they get to the basketball game, I thought it was going to get better, and it just isn't. It really isn't. There's no stakes in this film. You know LeBron James is gonna win at the end. You know exactly what is going to happen. And another part that was kind of entertaining. It'll connect with gamers. I'm a gamer myself. Is the whole gaming aspect of the film. You know, it's LeBron James' son inside of his game, being the character that he created and being able to do whatever he wants to do on the courts to prove to his dad that he could be just as good as him. There's some cool shots there where he levels up and does some cool moves and everything. But even the last scene, like if you remember Michael Jordan's last dunk at the end of the first Space Jam, when he like stretches his arm and he is able to do something that the Tunes could do. You know, I think that was the first thing that he did that was like Looney Tune-ish. So it was like, oh snap, he's doing something cool that he hasn't done before. You know, and then in this, it's like, because it's a video game, LeBron James has these things to step on that he can just immediately do things in this world. And it's like, okay, instead of a Toon world, you're inside of a server. Yay. The first 10 to 15 minutes of this film gave me the biggest red flag ever. So the film starts out by showing highlights of LeBron James' career. That's cool. They did that in the first one with Michael Jordan. That's fine. The film is about you. You're playing yourself. You're playing yourself. So yes, you're a good player. Jordan, you're a pretty good player. I'm joking. Very good player. So it starts like that, and then it's his older son that's playing basketball in their house, and you see his, big, beautiful mansion. And his younger son is more of a kid that wants to be involved in games, making games. So his brother challenges him. They're playing a little bit, and LeBron comes out and gives him like a lesson on fundamentals and sticking to your basketball. And it is some of the worst line delivery I have ever seen in a film ever. Like, I have watched a lot of movies in my time. As a 36-year-old man, yes, I'm giving away my age, I have watched a lot of films, and the line delivery in this film is absolutely horrendous. It is so wooden. It is so boring. LeBron James looks annoyed half the time in this film. He looks like he does not want to be there at all. I know you're a basketball player, but, I mean, if you know you're going to be in a film, you're going to be the lead actor. I don't know if he did or not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but get an acting coach. If they say you have, hey, in 4 months you're going to be shooting this movie, get an acting coach, dude. I don't know if he did that or not, so correct me if I'm wrong. But man, his performance is just it's insanely bad, and the bad script and story really doesn't help it at all. Another huge problem with this film is that it is just one big ego rub. I get it. It's about one of the best basketball players of all time. But when they consistently call him the greatest of all time every 15 minutes in the film, it is as blatantly crazy obvious that they're trying to advertise him. It's like that scene in Transformers where, I think it was part 4, with Mark Wahlberg, and like they crash into a Bud Light semi. Someone's yelling at him, and he looks at the person, and he picks up the Bud Light. It perfectly shows on the screen. He drinks it, and he slams it down. That is how blatantly obvious it is about how they're stroking this guy's ego. I mean, they call him King Dre. They call his kids Prince. princes. They call his wife a queen. They're consistently saying that he's the greatest of all time, the best basketball player of all time, the best athlete in the world. And man, I'm listening to this and I'm like, I could understand if you're saying it once or twice, but Jesus, they just constantly just say all the way up into the end. It's like, Jesus, man. I love the Looney Tunes. I grew up with the Looney Tunes since before I could probably even talk. I've been watching Looney Tunes. Love Marvin the Martian. But even the Looney Tunes could not save this movie. I mean, I feel embarrassed for the actors that voice the Looney Tunes. I feel bad for these fictional characters for being in this movie. The standout performance is Don Cheadle. You know, he hams it up like crazy. He really goes for the big performance, like theatrical performance, but he's pretty funny. And he does a good job. He chews up every scene he's in. But it doesn't go anywhere, and I don't understand his motivations whatsoever. I really don't understand his motivations, and that really makes me not care about the film as a whole. Even the soundtrack in this film is not memorable at all. I mean, when you think of the original Space Jam, if any of you saw the original Space Jam, I want you to think of 1 to 2 songs right now. I could guarantee you, as soon as I said that, the first thing that's going to pop up is I Believe I Can Fly, unfortunately sung by R. Kelly, and Space Jam. Those are 2 memorable songs that stick in your head like a broken record from those films. I can't tell you one song in this. I mean, I remember they played some song on the credits that I had to shut it off. It was, I'm sorry if you liked it. It was terrible. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this film besides it is one of the worst films I've ever seen, and one of the worst films I've seen in a long time. And the only thing I enjoyed about it was the antics of the Looney Tunes, and the effects were beautiful. But there's only so far you could go with effects before people are going to notice that it is a piece of poop dipped in gold.
He called the shit poop!
It may be dipped in gold, but it's still poop underneath. Why does this movie even exist besides making money? I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't really say this often, but man, that is 2 hours of my life I am not getting back. And this is a movie that I cannot see myself ever watching again. It almost seems like they're trying to copy the original by doing the exact same thing. The dialogue and the dialogue delivery is just absolutely horrendous. And the misuse of the Looney Tune characters is sacrilege. I'm giving Space Jam: A New Legacy a rating of... I can't recommend this film. If you are a child, if you are a huge fan of LeBron James, maybe you'll enjoy it. But it's really bad. It is very bad. Well, that was my review of Space Jam: A New Legacy. Film buffs, thank you so much for being here again. If you did like this video, please like, subscribe, and share to catch me every time I'm on air. Hit that notification button to know exactly when I'm on air, and you won't miss me. So thank you so much for all the support. Have a great day. Have a great night. Depends on when you're watching this. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.